Okay, we are back to this one spot I went to maybe 6 years ago. There supposedly was 2 or 3 houses over here. They must have burned down a really long time ago because there's like a 1945 to 1985 dump on top of where those houses used to be. And as you can see, there's these 80s soda bottles, but if you can find these in good shape, they're actually worth something nowadays. These are a little rough, but maybe we'll find a few. I don't really care about those, but some people put them on eBay for $10 each. I think they actually sell them sometimes even. Faded on both sides, so that's no good. Here's a scarcer variety, and this one looks in really good shape. I think I'll bring that one back. So either these people were hoarders that just threw trash right out their back door and all over the top of the ground here, or else this is a later dump. But as you can see, an obvious depression right there. That's got to be one of their privies. This house is at least 112 years old. Sounds like a bottle. I tried to break through it to make sure it was glass, but it just doesn't feel right. There's also a super obvious depression over here. Another one over there. This is so far out of town that they probably didn't get plumbing ever. Yeah, that's definitely a privy there. As you can see, there's a giant vine of poison oak right up against it. I don't want to get brushed up on that too many times, and I don't want to saw it in half either, because that'll definitely give me the poison oak. Getting all that syrupy sap stuff on me. Might be another one. This definitely looks like a sinkhole over here as well. Yeah, it just flies in with no resistance. But no crunchies. There are some older bottles on top of the ground. Not old enough, but that's definitely from the 40s. Or was. I accidentally broke it. But look at this. I usually don't care about Clorox bottles, but the jugs with the handles on them are worth something. But that one's actually got a root growing into the neck of it, and it's holding it up. I don't need that though. As you can see, there's plenty of trash thrown here. And that's always a good sign to see those, and that's a little bit old. So let's keep probing. Yeah, this place is really crazy with all this modern trash and semi-antique trash. We got an ACL there. Got another one of these. Not quite good enough, but what about this? I never normally would have thought to keep something like that, but as time goes on, a funky looking bottle from the late 60s might be worth $3 or $4. Another one that people sometimes keep are these, especially the green ones with the giant no deposit on it, because, well, it's really dirty. So you could theoretically take a 1968 no deposit label for a 28 ouncer and glue it on there for display purposes. Of course, it would be unethical to sell it that way as legitimate, but it's better than displaying all your labels just in book form or something. Alright, we got a Mountain Dew from 1982. It's too faded out. But think about it. How many of those have survived in good shape? Definitely less than 1% of them. Okay, here's a more interesting one. The clear ones are kind of boring, but this one is different. It's got this weird textured pattern all over the neck. I don't know that I've ever found one quite like it. But who would think to have to tumble a bottle like this just to be able to put on a label? And here we have an example of a modern privy, I don't know what you call these, prefabricated poured cement floor and the thing that goes under the seat. Of course, I would never think to go through the trouble of trying to move the cement slab to dig under there, because that would be 1950s or 60s, even 1970s possibly. I would want to probe all around it about 5 or 10 feet away. Okay, we might have a good one here. As you can see, that's not a normal Mountain Dew. It's got Diet right there, but it's faded out. But what about this side? It's ruined too. Okay, so I have found many privies, but I'm not excited because there's going to be ones from the teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. And I don't know which is going to be which. I don't have x-ray vision, unfortunately, and I don't really want to dig all those modern holes for 2 days to finally get into the one that's the right age. But this one definitely has an interesting feel to it. And we have a milk bottle right on top of the ground. Not any good, but well, it actually does have some embossing on it. Farmer's Dairy. It's got to be, what, 1958 maybe? Early 60s possibly. But it's got to be worth $4 anyway, so I'll bring that one back. I'm thinking I might want to dig here. This one does have glass in it, and that's always exciting, but the glassier they are, the more modern they are usually. And that's not good. Okay, we have an interesting piece of metal right here that could be worth something. What do you think? Are these worth bringing back? I don't know. It's probably worth $8 at least to somebody after I clean it up. Okay, I've gone about 250 feet farther away from that area, and I'm seeing a bit of a dump. I think there was actually a house up here, and they dumped their stuff off the edge just like that other place, but this place is much older stuff. Piece of an old crock, and possibly an intact milk bottle. And it is intact, but no name on it, so... Wait, it does have a name. Very faintly embossed. Farmers... I guess Farmer's Dairy of some sort. Probably only worth $3.50, but every bit helps. But then we also just found this, obviously a round milk bottle, which is definitely older. And the fact that it has a ring right there. This would be a good one to bring home to use for repairing purposes. I'll saw it off right at the bottom of that ring, because I have a number of milk bottles that are good that have the top inch broken off. So that's worth bringing back. But what do we have here? Is this a toy truck? No, it looks like a piece of an early vacuum cleaner of some sort. But this is a porcelain something or other. Not a sign, so it's no good. Interesting, I just stumbled onto an old fence. So that's proof that there was a house here, and this is the backyard. So maybe I should probe this back fence line. Yeah, this is a really big piece of land actually. Possibly as much as 100 acres. If you saw my video from, I don't know, 6 years ago, there's a huge embankment right there, and there is some stuff dumped off of that. But I never really checked this area. And I'm seeing a really nice looking dump right here on top of the ground. Older stuff. That's the Pepsi. Well, that's the Pepsi right there that had the paper label. You can tell the difference because the embossing is just really bold, and these texture designs are really sharp and crisp compared to the ones with the ACL on them, are just not as well defined. So, and of course the fact that there's no paint at all left. But there's some other sodas around here. It looks like possibly a Coke bottle. Yeah, it's broken too. Then we got something semi-interesting here. The Daniel Boone soda. They're really not worth that much, $12 to $15. But they're really nice looking. Yeah, I definitely need to go back and get my scratcher. This area's never been looked at before. You can see some interesting patterns on this. Never seen one quite like it. Good piece of yard art for people that live in the desert to plant in and put in their front yard. But for any other purpose it would be worthless. So we have some sodas right here on top of the ground. One's broken, that one's broken, but we have a milk bottle right there. Is it embossed? Nope, it's a slicky. If I was closer to my vehicle, I would bring it back, but I'm a good 100 yards away now. There's also a creek down here. We're going to follow that next, but I want to check this area a little bit farther over here because there's so many bottles just scattered all over the top of the ground. Okay, here we have another piece of granite ware of the more typical blue pattern as opposed to the way that other one looked. But of course the whole bottom's gone, so not going to bring that one back. Then we got some little tub-like oval shaped that is kind of what do you call that, pastel green. All kinds of cans over here. A wash tub. Yeah, there's got to be some stuff hidden in here somewhere that's good. Plenty of stuff got thrown out here. Yeah, it makes more sense the house could have been up this way. Okay, we got one right here. Check that out. Not a very good one, but if it's intact, it's a little bit exciting to find an embossed soda on top of the ground. It's broken. But I'll tell you a little secret. These make really nice glasses. You just saw it off at the top of that ring. I've already made 6 or 7 of them, and they look really nice. Okay, what do we got here? It looks like a possible milk bottle of the round kind on top of the ground. It is. Please be embossed. Nope, it's a slicky. No paint either. But being a round one, I guess it would be worth bringing back if I can carry all this stuff. Okay, that's definitely interesting. I never noticed a dilapidated house over here. I definitely have never been to this particular spot. A lot of debris on the ground. A lot of mason jars. Must have been the moonshiner's house. Just not quite old enough with any of this stuff yet. But the map indicates there was houses here in 1912. So somewhere, very well hidden, is the good stuff. That is tin roof rusted right there. Yeah, this definitely could be over 100 years old to be in that condition. I don't know if it's on the map or if it's one lot over, built in the later teens, but there is definitely plenty of trash. It's just unfortunate that the old stuff is mysteriously hidden hidden way too well to find unless you put tremendous effort into probing everywhere. Probing is very hard work, especially in a place like this where the ground's clay. We got a suncrest. I hate those. And the paint's going to be ruined anyway. Yeah, a bunch of hillbilly dumps from the 60s and 70s. Yeah, we got a lot of trash over here. But is any of it worth anything? I'm not seeing anything. Oh yeah, wait a second. We got a mason jar with that perfect lid on it. And you know the antique shops are selling those for $2 a piece. And it's much better condition than most I find out in the wild. So that's a good one. What do we got there? Looks like it has embossing on it. It's the sideways embossed I.W. Harper. And it is a corker. But I just can't carry everything. I'm so far from the car right now. I didn't bring a bag with me. And the pockets are pretty well filled up. Okay, do you see the bottle that's good in this picture? It's very well hidden, of course. Right there. Embossed 10 ounce. You don't see 10 ounces hardly ever. They're at least 100 times more rare than the 6.5 ounces. No town name on most of those, but some of them do have them. That's definitely should be worth $10 considering how much more rare it is than the regular hobble skirts. That definitely looks like a privy. It's sunken down a good 10 inches right there. In the city you don't see sinkholes, maybe 1 or 2 inches, and a lot of times they are not the privy. But when you see one sunken that deep, yes, it definitely is a privy. So I scraped off the leaves to make it easier to see it when I come back. But there's a very strong chance I'm not even going to be able to find this spot again because we're just so far out there. Everything looks just like this everywhere I look. Not anything within 100 yards of here. But we have several other interesting bottles. A blue mason on top of the ground. No cracks or chips, so that's kind of a rare find. For a surface find anyway. The smaller ones are actually harder to find than the medium and large ones, so it's probably an $8 bottle. Plenty of places I could be scraping, or scratching I should say. Scratching with a scratcher tool, as I call it. Got another mason jar, but I don't think I can carry anything else unless it's something really special. That's kind of an odd no deposit. It's got a texture all around it. 1950? That's a very early no deposit. And in the future somebody might have gotten excited about this find. But in 2023 they're still worth, well, basically nothing, because it's going to be nearly impossible to find a buyer for one of those. Okay, this is a little bit exciting. We have two Boone Cola bottles on top of the ground, but the paint is completely gone. On that one anyway, but this one's only half gone, but still, who's going to buy it like that? No one. But I'm not giving up yet. We got several more acres to cover over here. Alright, we are on to a good spot right here. If this one's intact, it's going to be a nice one. Pretty nice anyway. Nope, it's broken. Double strength sugar beverage. But it will make a nice drinking glass if I saw it off right there. Unique shape. And I don't have one made like that yet, so I'm sure that'll be pretty nice once it's all done up and polished. Okay, what else have we got in here? Clorox. Nope, don't want those. Pepsi from 1980. Nope. No, can't find anything good when the camera's turned on. Okay, we are on the other side of this giant ravine, and I showed you this spot years ago, but the plants are more dead now, so I'm seeing more stuff. There's one of those swimsuit girl 7-Up bottles. A Lysol with a screw top. I don't know that I've actually ever seen one. I guess I'll bring that back just because they're scarce. Then we got some beer cans. Tudor beer. It's a little far gone, but it's almost collectible. I think these are North Carolina bottles. Not really sure, but I like them to be in a little bit better shape than that. Especially when I have no way to carry anything else. Okay, we got a Coke bottle here. Nope. Concord. They didn't throw any intact Coke bottles away. Okay, I'm on the other side of the road where there was also a few houses, and I am a good 250 feet from the road, way out into the backyards. Finding some stuff finally on top of the ground. We have a nice early jug, or what's left of it. A piece of a cheer wine, I would say, from Salisbury, of course. And of course, here's the bottom of that jug. But I could tell the terrain goes lower and lower the farther back you go, and so I assumed they would want to throw their trash in the lower parts. So, I've been here before years and years ago, but I don't know how far I've gone. So let's continue. Luckily I noticed this tripwire before I got hung up on it. But there is a lot of land over here. Very wet and very sparse on the glass. I just don't see hardly anything out here. Like 1% of what's on the other side of the street. We just have this one lone bottle all by itself. It could have been a good one, but it's not. But it is a corker, and that's a little bit surprising. It's got the federal law. So it must probably be the very first year they started putting that on them. 1938 or something like that. Okay, we're about 500 feet from the road now, and I'm coming onto a creek, which I'm sure I haven't seen before. Maybe nobody's looked at it. It might be an unknown creek, because it's just so far out there. So, I do not have my rubber boots on, but I guess I don't really need them. I can walk the high bank easy enough. Yeah, there's one piece of glass down there. There's got to be something down here somewhere. And here we have that same fence, actually in the center of the tree. That's kind of odd. How often do you see barbed wire fences coming out of the middle of a tree trunk? Okay, I went back and got my long-handled scratcher, which I rarely ever use. And I think I'm going to test dig this bank right here. No, I didn't like that spot, so I'm in a totally different area now. I'm seeing these kind of shards again. So I think I'm going to rake right here. Right in here. Well, a lot of noise was made, but not any bottles found. And since I'm too close to people's houses, I don't want to be making all that noise. I just possibly probed out a porcelain sign. Just because it's plain white on this side doesn't mean it's not a sign on the other side. Probably not, but let's have a look. Nope. No, it turned out to just be a small tabletop. But a person who can paint well could use it as a blank canvas. Use some porcelain type of paint and make it into a Pepsi-Cola sign. Or it's shaped like a Mountain Dew sign, those early kind from 1964, I think they are. Of course, that would be obviously fake because they didn't make porcelain Mountain Dew. But should I bring this home and paint on it? Yeah, I think I should.